Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is the most recent entry in the Call of Duty franchise. It's the 8th mainline entry to be developed by Treyarch and is the sequel to 2020's Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, and lifts many mechanics and narrative elements from that game, the most important of which being the implementation of the player character. In Cold War, the player takes the role of a character codenamed Bell, and Bell acts as an insert for the player. Bell has an entirely customizable history, name, gender identity, appearance, psychiatric profile, and dialogue. Bell also has a very important role in the story. From the start, they're hyped up to be the key to stopping Perseus, the main antagonist, and throughout the game, Bell is part of major operations that lead to the discovering of Perseus's plans to nuke all of Europe. Then, during the second act low point, it's revealed that Bell is so important because they used to work directly for Perseus, and the CIA has brainwashed them into switching sides. From that point, the player can then choose to backstab the CIA and take their place back at Perseus's side, or assist the CIA in preventing nuclear devastation. Bell's role is tied directly into the story, and this strengthens the player's immersion, since Bell acts as the conduit for the player, and Bell is so important to the story, therefore the player is so important to the story. This makes it much more impactful when the player is put into situations in which their choices matter, such as being forced to only save one of your two teammates, or deciding the fate of the world at the end of the game. And then we get to Case. Case is the protagonist of Black Ops 6, and it's very clear from the way Case is implemented that they were going for Bell, but again, only they fall really flat. Case isn't customizable. He has a canon appearance and a canon name, William Case Calderon. He's built up pretty dramatically in the introduction, but they don't really expand upon that. Sure, he's an exceptionally skilled warrior, but every main character of a Call of Duty game since Call of Duty 4 has been an exceptionally skilled warrior. Even Case's teammates seem just as good, if not better, than he is. And this would be fine if Case actually had something going for them like Bell did, but what they try to do with Case doesn't work. The game attempts to portray Case as a complicated character, or at least a character with something going on. As 2/3 of the way through the story, it's revealed that Case was experimented on by the Pantheon and exposed to their bioweapon known as the Cradle. And a lot is revealed in this mission, including the identity of the twist villain, Jane Harrow, but nothing's really done with Case. All we know is that he was present and experimented on, and that at the beginning of the game he worked with Jane. Case never explores how being experimented on this way affected him. Granted, he can't talk about it, but he doesn't even show any effects outside of when he ingests the Cradle. The only indication we ever get that something is going on with Case is earlier in the game when things about the Pantheon is mentioned and Case's vision pulses, which that's nothing. The most egregious thing about Case is that if he were to be replaced by another character entirely, the story would actually improve. Say, for example, instead of playing as Case, you played as Troy Marshall. Marshall is by Case's side the entirety of the story. Only it's more like Case is by Marshall's side, because Marshall is the one actually taking initiative. He's the one that starts investigating the Pantheon. He's the one that gets Adler out of prison. Marshall is the main character for all intents and purposes. But you don't play as him. You play as Case, who has nothing to do with the story outside of the fact that he was there. The best part about Marshall, too, was that he's best friends with Jane Harrow, the aforementioned twist villain. If we played as Marshall, we would get to explore that relationship so much more. And the reveal of Jane being a villain, the leader of the Pantheon, working on this horrifying bioweapon, it would be so much more impactful if we saw it through Marshall's eyes, but instead it just ends up being a footnote. To more directly compare these characters, Bell is entirely customizable and integral to the plot. It cannot exist without them, and therefore they are an excellent conduit for the player. Case, on the other hand, has many of the surface level qualities of Bell, silent protagonist, being able to choose dialogue, but Case makes no impact on the story, and especially no player chosen impact on the story. The most Case ever does is kill Jane, and that could have been accomplished by any of the other characters. It just so happens that in the most contrived manner possible, they all get incapacitated except him, so he has to be the one to do it. It's clear that Case the way he's implemented is derivative of Bell. It's obvious. But the writers and developers didn't want to commit to what made Bell so special and what made Bell work so well. And for that reason, Case is a disappointment of a player character.
It's over. We did it, Case. We did it.
Thank you for watching. This is the first in a series of video essays done in collaboration with Save Point Gaming, and I'm honored to be a part of this. And I hope you guys enjoy what's to come. Thank you.